The room was cold and quiet. Lieutenant Daniel Grant stood very still in front of the large metal table. His back was straight and his hands were at his sides. He had been a soldier for 10 years. He had fought in many battles. He had seen things that gave him bad dreams. But right now, standing in this room on the flagship Endeavour, he felt more nervous than he had felt in a long time. Admiral sat behind the table. She was an old woman with hair and hard eyes. She had led fleets into battle. She had made choices that saved millions of lives. When she spoke, people listened. "Lieutenant Grant," she said, her voice was calm but serious. "Do you know why you are here?" "No, Admiral," Daniel said. "I was told to report immediately, nothing more." The Admiral nodded slowly. She picked up a small device from the table and pressed a button. A picture appeared in the air between them. It showed a woman, but she was not human. Her skin glowed with a soft silver light. Her hair looked like it was made of starlight. Her eyes were deep purple, like the color of space itself. "This is Princess," the Admiral said. "She is the youngest daughter of Emperor of the Empire." Daniel knew about everyone did. They were one of the oldest species in the galaxy. Their civilization had existed for thousands of years before humans even learned to make fire. They had technology that humans could not understand. They had powers that seemed like magic. And right now, they were deciding if they wanted to be friends with humanity or not. "The princess will arrive at Nexus Station in 2 days," the Admiral continued. "There will be a big meeting there. Many species will come together to talk about peace and trade. The princess will speak for her people." "I understand, Admiral," Daniel said, "but why am I here?" The Admiral looked at him for a long moment. Then she said something that changed everything. "You will be her personal guard, Lieutenant. You will protect her during the entire meeting. You will stay by her side at all times. You will keep her safe." Daniel blinked. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. This made no sense. There were hundreds of soldiers who had more experience with aliens. There were specialists who had trained for exactly this kind of job. Daniel was good at fighting. He was good at staying alive, but he had never even met him before. "Admiral, with respect, I do not understand. Why me?" "Because she asked for you," the Admiral said simply. The words hung in the air like smoke. Daniel felt his heart beat faster. "She asked for me. The princess asked for me by name." Yes, the request came directly from her. She wanted Lieutenant Daniel Grant, no one else. "But I have never met her. I have never had any contact with royalty. There must be some mistake." The Admiral shook her head. "There is no mistake. We checked 3 times. She knows your name, your service record, everything about you, and she wants you as her guard." She leaned forward. "This is not a request, Lieutenant. This is an order. The alliance between humanity and the Empire depends on this meeting going well. If the princess wants you, then you will be there. Do you understand?" "Yes, Admiral," Daniel said, but inside his head 100 questions were spinning. How did an alien princess know his name? Why would she choose him? What was really going on? 2 days passed quickly. Daniel studied everything he could find about He learned about their customs, their history, their beliefs. He learned that they valued honor and truth above all things. He learned that they could live for thousands of years. He learned that they had abilities that humans called magic, but that they called simply the way of things. But he could not find anything that explained why Princess knew who he was. When the day came, Daniel waited at the docking port with 12 other soldiers. They stood in 2 neat lines, wearing their best uniforms. The lights were bright. The air smelled clean and artificial. Through the large window, Daniel could see the princess's ship approaching. It was beautiful, all smooth curves and glowing lights like something from a dream. The ship connected to the station with a soft sound. There was a moment of silence. Then the doors opened. She was more beautiful than the picture. Daniel felt his breath catch in his chest. Princess stepped through the door like she was walking on air. Her silver skin glowed softly in the station's lights. Her purple eyes moved across the room, looking at each soldier in turn. And then those eyes found Daniel. She smiled. It was a small smile, but it changed her whole face. She looked pleased, like someone who had been waiting for something good and had finally received it. The other soldiers bowed their heads as she walked past them. She did not look at them. She did not slow down. She walked straight to Daniel and stopped right in front of him. "Lieutenant Daniel Grant," she said. Her voice was soft and musical, like wind moving through leaves. "At last we meet." Daniel bowed his head. "Your Highness, welcome aboard. I am honored to serve as your guard." "Are you?" She tilted her head slightly, looking at him with those strange purple eyes. "Do you know why you are here, Lieutenant?" "I was assigned to protect you, Your Highness." "Assigned," she repeated. The smile on her face grew a little wider. "Yes, that is what they told you, but that is not the whole truth." Daniel looked up at her. "I do not understand, Your Highness." She stepped closer. She was tall, almost as tall as he was. This close, he could smell something sweet and strange, like flowers that did not grow on earth. "I chose you, Daniel Grant," she said softly. "I chose you long before they assigned you to me." Before Daniel could ask what she meant, her attendants came forward. They were two, dressed in flowing robes. They spoke to her in their own language, and she nodded. "We will talk more later," she told Daniel. "For now, walk with me, stay close." She turned and walked toward the main corridor. Daniel followed her, his mind full of questions. Behind him, he heard the other soldiers whispering. They had seen what happened. They had seen how the princess looked at him. What did it mean? How did she know him? What was she not telling him? Daniel did not know. But as he walked behind the alien princess, watching her silver hair shine in the lights, he felt something strange in his chest. It was not fear. It was not confusion. It was something else, something he could not name. It felt like the beginning of something big. The corridor stretched out ahead of them, long and bright. Somewhere on this station, a meeting would happen that could change the future of humanity. Somewhere in the universe, forces were moving that Daniel did not understand. But right now, all he could think about was the alien princess walking in front of him and the words she had spoken. "I chose you long before they assigned you to me." What did that mean? And why did it make his heart beat so fast? Daniel did not know, but he was going to find out. 3 days passed on Nexus Station. Daniel followed Princess everywhere she went. He stood behind her during long meetings with leaders from many different species. He watched her eat strange foods at fancy dinners. He waited outside her room while she slept. She was smart. Daniel could see that clearly. When she spoke in meetings, everyone listened. She knew exactly what to say to make people agree with her. She could make an angry ambassador calm down with just a few words. She could make a difficult deal seem simple. But what Daniel noticed most was how she looked at him. Her purple eyes found him again and again, no matter how many people were in the room. Sometimes she smiled at him. Sometimes she just watched him with a look he could not understand. The other guards noticed too. They whispered about it when they thought Daniel could not hear. Why did the alien princess keep looking at the human soldier? What was special about him? Daniel wished he knew the answer. On the third night, something changed. The last meeting of the day had ended. The other attendants had gone to their rooms. Princess turned to Daniel with a serious look on her face. "Walk with me," she said. "I want to show you something." She led him through the station to a place called the observation deck. It was a large room with walls made of clear glass. Through the glass, Daniel could see the stars. Thousands of them, millions of them, burning bright against the black emptiness of space. Below them, Nexus Station turned slowly, its lights glowing like a small sun. "It is beautiful," said softly. "Your species has done amazing things. 100 years ago, you had never left your own planet. Now you build stations like this among the stars." "Humans learn fast," Daniel said. "We have to. We are young compared to your people." "Yes, young and brave and very, very stubborn." She turned to face him. In the starlight, her silver skin glowed even brighter. "That is why I chose you, Daniel. You keep saying that, Your Highness, that you chose me, but I still do not understand what you mean." Was quiet for a moment. She looked out at the stars and Daniel saw something in her eyes. It looked like pain. Old pain hidden deep inside. 3 years ago, she began slowly, I was traveling through a part of space called the Outer Rim. It was supposed to be safe. My guards were with me. We were going to visit a small colony that had asked for help. She stopped talking. Daniel waited. "We were attacked," she continued. "Raiders, do you know them?" Daniel felt his stomach go cold. Yes, he knew they were slavers. They attacked ships, killed the crew, and took anyone valuable. They were cruel and brutal, and they had no mercy. "I know them," he said quietly. "They killed my guards, all of them. They took me prisoner. They put me in a small cell on their ship. I was alone and afraid. I thought I was going to die or worse." His hands were shaking slightly. Daniel wanted to reach out and hold them, but he did not move. "Then something happened," she said. "A human ship found us, a small patrol vessel. They should have called for help and waited. They were outnumbered. They had no chance of winning a fight against the raiders." Something was stirring in Daniel's memory. A mission 3 years ago, a distress signal, smoke and fire and the sound of weapons. "But they did not wait," said. "They attacked. They crashed their ship into the raider vessel and boarded it. They fought through 30 warriors with nothing but their guns and their courage." Daniel remembered now. The memories came flooding back like water breaking through a wall. He remembered the smell of burning metal. He remembered the screams. He remembered fighting his way through dark corridors, stepping over bodies, looking for survivors. "There was one soldier who reached me first," said. Her voice was very soft now. "He broke open the door of my cell. He picked me up in his arms because I was too weak to walk. He carried me through the ship while his friends fought all around him." Daniel's heart was pounding. He remembered silver skin, purple eyes wide with fear, a voice saying words he did not understand. "He was shot 3 times protecting me," said. 3 times, but he did not fall. He kept moving. He kept holding me. When we finally reached his ship, he put me down gently on a bed. He held my hand, and he said something I will never forget. "What did he say?" Daniel asked. His voice sounded strange to his own ears. Turned to look at him. Tears were running down her silver cheeks. "He said, 'You are going to be fine, I promise. You are safe now.'" Daniel remembered. He remembered saying those words. He remembered a beautiful alien woman looking up at him with terrified eyes. He remembered thinking that he had never seen anything so beautiful in his life. Then the pain had become too much, and everything had gone dark. "That soldier was you," Daniel said. "You saved my life. You almost died for me, for someone you did not know, for someone who was not even human." "I did not know it was you," Daniel said slowly. "I was hurt badly after that mission. I spent months recovering. The whole thing was kept secret. I never knew who I had saved. But I knew who saved me," stepped closer to him. "I asked for your name. I learned everything about you, your childhood, your training, your battles. I watched you from far away for 3 years. "Why?" Daniel asked. "Why would you do that?" "Because when my father asked how humanity could prove it was worthy of an alliance with our empire, I told him they already had. I told him about the human soldier who carried me through fire and death, who took bullets for me without hesitation, who held my hand and promised me everything would be fine." She reached out and took his hand. Her skin was warm and soft. "You proved something to me that day, Daniel. You proved that humans have something special, something that older species have lost. You feel things deeply. You care about others. You will risk everything for people you do not even know. That is rare. That is precious. That is why I chose you." Daniel looked down at their joined hands. His was rough and from years of fighting. Hers glowed with silver light. They were so different, and yet somehow they fit together perfectly. "What do you want from me?" he asked. It was the first time he had used her name without her title. She smiled through her tears. "Right now, I just want you to know the truth. I want you to understand that you are not here by accident. You are here because I wanted you here, because I have been waiting 3 years to see you again." And after that, her smile grew wider. There was something in her eyes that made Daniel's heart beat even faster. "After that," she said softly, "we will see what happens. But I think you and I have a long road ahead of us, Daniel Grant, and I think it is going to be very interesting." Outside the glass walls, the stars burned on forever. Below them, Nexus Station held a meeting that could change the future. But in that moment, standing in the observation deck with his hand in his, Daniel did not care about any of that. He cared about the alien princess, who had reached across the stars to find him. And he was starting to think that maybe, just maybe, he had been looking for her too. Something was wrong. Daniel could feel it in his bones. It started with small things. A maintenance worker who spent too much time near his quarters. A security officer whose identification card did not look quite right. Strange signals that Daniel's equipment picked up but could not decode. Most people would not have noticed these things, but Daniel was not most people. He had survived 10 years of war by paying attention to details. He had learned to trust his instincts, and right now, his instincts were screaming at him that something bad was coming. On the 5th day of the summit, he went to see Commander Price. She was in charge of security on Nexus Station. Her office was small and messy, filled with screens and equipment. "Lieutenant Grant," she said when he walked in, "what can I do for you?" "I want to report some concerns, Commander. I think someone on this station is planning something." Price raised an eyebrow. "Planning what?" "I do not know yet, but there have been strange things happening, people acting suspicious. Encrypted signals. I think we might have a security problem." The commander laughed, not a friendly laugh, a dismissive one. "Lieutenant, this station is hosting the biggest diplomatic meeting in history. There are security forces from a dozen different species here. We have checked everyone and everything 3 times. Nothing can go wrong." "With respect, Commander, that is exactly when things go wrong, when everyone thinks they are safe." "I appreciate your concern," Price said. Her voice made it clear that she did not appreciate it at all. "But everything is under control. Go back to guarding the princess and let us worry about station security." Daniel left her office feeling frustrated. He knew he was right. He could feel it. But without proof, no one would listen to him. He went back to his room and used his personal communication device to contact an old friend. Sergeant Cole worked in signals intelligence. They had served together years ago and owed Daniel his life from a mission that had gone very wrong. "Danny," said when his face appeared on the screen, "good to hear from you. How is babysitting alien royalty?" "Complicated. Listen, I need a favor. I have been picking up strange signals on this station, encrypted stuff. Can you take a look?" His expression became serious. "Send me what you have." Daniel transmitted the data and waited. His face changed as he looked at it. First curious, then concerned, then worried. "Danny, where did you get this?" "I told you on the station. Why, what is it?" "I cannot break the full encryption yet, but I can see enough to know this is bad. There is chatter about something called Operation Nightfall. Lots of messages, lots of coordination. Something big is being planned, and the timing matches up with the summit's closing ceremony." Daniel felt ice in his stomach. "What kind of something?" "I do not know yet, but whatever it is not good. I will keep working on this. You watch your back, Danny, and watch the princess too." Daniel ended the call and sat in silence for a moment. Then he got up and went to find. She was in her quarters, sitting by the window and looking at the stars. When Daniel walked in, she turned to look at him. Her purple eyes studied his face. "Something is wrong," she said. It was not a question. "Yes, how did you know?" I can see it in your face. You look like a man who has discovered something terrible." She stood up and walked toward him. "Tell me." Daniel told her everything, the suspicious people, the encrypted signals. His conversation when he finished, was very quiet. "You have discovered the plot," she said finally. "You knew about this." "I suspected. There are people in my own empire who do not want this alliance with humanity. They think your species is too young, too dangerous. They believe humans will bring chaos to the galaxy." "Who are these people?" "They call themselves the Traditionalists. They want the empire to stay separate from younger species. They have been causing problems for years, but they have never done anything this bold before." Walked to a small table and picked up a data device. She pressed a button, and information appeared in the air between them. "This is what I learned from my own sources," she said. "The Traditionalists have made an alliance with the same raiders who captured me 3 years ago. Together, they are planning to attack during the closing ceremony." "Attack how?" "They want to kill me." His voice was calm, but Daniel could see fear in her eyes. "If I die, the alliance between humans and falls apart. The summit fails. My father will never forgive humanity. War might follow." "Why would they work with your people hate the—" "Because they hate humans even more than they hate us. When you saved me 3 years ago, you made powerful enemies, Daniel. They want revenge. The Traditionalists want to stop the alliance. Together, they have found a common goal." Daniel's mind was racing. He needed to warn someone. He needed to stop this. But Commander Price had not listened to him, and if there were traitors on the station, he did not know who he could trust. "There is more," said quietly. "Something I should have told you before." "What?" She looked down at her hands. "The alliance my father wants is not just political. It is personal. It is traditional among my people to seal important treaties with marriage." Daniel stared at her. "Marriage?" "Yes, I am to marry a human, someone I choose, someone who will represent your species and be a bridge between our peoples." She looked up at him. "I have already made my choice, Daniel. I made it 3 years ago." Before Daniel could respond, alarms started screaming. Red lights flashed everywhere. The floor shook as explosions boomed somewhere on the station. Grabbed his arm. "It has begun." Daniel pulled out his weapon. Through the window, he could see smoke rising from the outer ring of the station. Ships were approaching, dark and dangerous looking. "We need to move," he said. "There is a secure bunker in the center of the station. We can protect you there." "They will be expecting that," said. "They will have people waiting." "Then we go through them." Daniel took her hand. "Stay close to me. No matter what happens, do not leave my side." Squeezed his hand. "I never will," she said. Together, they ran out into the chaos. The station was in panic. People were running everywhere, screaming. Smoke filled the corridors. Daniel could hear gunfire in the distance, getting closer. He pulled behind him and started moving toward the bunker. His weapon was ready. His senses were sharp. Somewhere ahead, enemies were waiting. But Daniel was not afraid. He had faced death before. He had survived battles that should have killed him. And now he had something worth fighting for. He looked back at her. Face was pale but determined. She was counting on him. The future of 2 species was counting on him. Daniel Grant was just a soldier, but sometimes one soldier is enough. They moved deeper into the burning station, toward whatever was waiting for them. The corridor exploded in front of them. Daniel pulled back just in time. Pieces of metal flew past their faces. Dust filled the air. Through the smoke, Daniel could see figures moving, dark shapes with weapons. "Down!" he shouted, pushing behind a fallen beam. He raised his weapon and fired. One of the figures fell. The others scattered, taking cover and shooting back. Blue plasma bolts burned through the air where Daniel had been standing a second before. "How many?" asked. Her voice was steady, even though Daniel could see her hands shaking. I count 6, maybe more behind them. Daniel fired again, keeping the attackers back. We need another way. There is a maintenance tunnel to our left, said. It should take us around them. Daniel looked where she was pointing. A small door in the wall, almost hidden by smoke. It was worth a try. When I say go, run for that door. Do not stop. Do not look back. What about you? I will be right behind you. Go. He stood up and fired rapidly, drawing all the attention to himself. Ran. Daniel kept shooting until she reached the door, then he turned and sprinted after her. Plasma bolts burned the wall beside his head. Something hit his arm and he felt sharp pain, but he kept running. They made it through the door and slammed it shut behind them. The tunnel was dark and narrow. Emergency lights blinked red along the ceiling. You are hurt, said, looking at his arm. It is nothing, keep moving. They ran through the tunnel. Daniel could hear footsteps behind them. The attackers were following. The tunnel opened into a large room filled with equipment. Machines hummed and blinked all around them. And standing in the middle of the room were 10 more attackers, waiting for them. End of the line, human, one of them said. He was, but his silver skin was marked with black symbols. A traditionalist. Daniel raised his weapon, but he knew the numbers were bad. 10 against 1. Even if he killed half of them, the others would get. Then stepped forward. I'm not helpless, Daniel, she said. Her hands began to glow with blue light. The air around her started to move, spinning like a small tornado. Daniel could feel energy building, making his skin tingle. The attackers raised their weapons, but they were too slow. Threw her hands forward and the blue light exploded outward. It hit the attackers like a giant wave, throwing them across the room. Machines shattered. Metal bent and broke. When the light faded, 6 of the attackers were down. The other 4 were struggling to stand. Fell to her knees, breathing hard. That took a lot out of me, she gasped. Daniel did not waste time. He ran forward and took out the remaining 4 attackers with quick, precise shots. Then he ran back to and helped her stand. What was that? He asked. My people have abilities that yours do not understand. We can move energy with our minds, but it is not easy and it is very tiring. She leaned against him. I cannot do that again, not for a while. Then I will handle the rest. Can you walk? Yes. They kept moving. Daniel half-carried through the station's corridors. More attackers came and Daniel fought them off. He was shot twice more, once in the leg and once in the side, but he did not stop. Finally, they reached the secure bunker. It was a large room with thick walls and only one entrance. It should have been safe. It was not safe. When Daniel opened the door, he saw Admiral on her knees in the center of the room. Commander Price stood behind her, holding a weapon to the Admiral's head. Around them were 8 more armed figures. Ah, Lieutenant Grant, Commander Price said with a cold smile. I was wondering when you would arrive. You, Daniel growled, you are part of this. I am leading this, actually. The traditionalists needed someone on the inside, someone who could make sure everything went smoothly. She pressed her weapon harder against the Admiral's head. Now put down your gun and bring the princess inside, slowly. Daniel's mind raced. 8 enemies plus Price. The Admiral as a hostage, too weak to use her powers. The odds were impossible. But Daniel had noticed something. A small movement in the ceiling above the attackers. A ventilation grate shifting slightly. And behind it, a familiar face. Cole, he had followed them, and he had brought help. Daniel needed to buy time. He needed to distract them. Why are you doing this, Price? He asked, slowly lowering his weapon. Why betray your own species? Betray? Price laughed. I am saving my species. They are dangerous. Their technology, their powers, their long lives. If we ally with them, they will eventually control us. It is better to stop this now before it is too late. By killing an innocent princess. She is not innocent. She is a symbol. Kill her and the Alliance dies. Kill her and humanity stays free. Daniel was almost close enough now, just a few more steps. There is one thing you did not think about, he said. What is that? You forgot that humans do not give up our people. The ventilation grate exploded downward, and 6 Marines dropped into the room, weapons firing. The attackers spun around, confused and surprised. Daniel threw himself at Commander Price. He tackled her away from the Admiral before she could pull the trigger. They hit the ground hard. Price's weapon went flying. Daniel punched her once, twice, 3 times until she stopped moving. All around them, fighting raged. The Marines were well trained, but the attackers were desperate. Plasma bolts flew everywhere. Someone screamed. Daniel heard shout his name. He turned and saw one of the attackers aiming at her. Time seemed to slow down. Daniel knew he could not reach her in time. He could not stop what was about to happen. So he did the only thing he could do. He jumped in front of the blast. The plasma bolt hit him in the chest. Pain exploded through his body, worse than anything he had ever felt. He fell backward, hitting the ground hard. The world became fuzzy. He could hear more shooting than silence. He could hear someone crying. He could feel hands touching his face. Daniel, stay with me. His face appeared above him. Tears were streaming down her silver cheeks. She was glowing with blue light, pressing her hands against his chest. You impossible, stupid, wonderful human, she sobbed. Why did you do that? Because, Daniel managed to say, his voice weak, it was my duty. Your duty was to protect me, not die for me. Same thing, Daniel said. He tried to smile, but it hurt too much. More hands, more voices. Someone saying something about medical help. The blue light from his hands was spreading through his body, easing the pain. Stay with me, whispered. Please, Daniel, stay with me. I did not wait 3 years to find you just to lose you now. Daniel wanted to tell her that he was not going anywhere. He wanted to tell her that he would never leave her. But the darkness was pulling at him, and it was so hard to stay awake. The last thing he heard before everything went black was his voice, whispering something in her own language. It sounded like a prayer. Or maybe it was a promise. Daniel woke up in a white room. For a moment he did not know where he was. Then the memories came flooding back. The battle, the plasma bolt, the darkness. He tried to sit up, but pain shot through his chest and he fell back down. Easy there, soldier. A face appeared above him. Human, female, a doctor based on her uniform. You have been unconscious for 4 days, she said. That blast nearly killed you. Actually, it should have killed you. The princess did something to keep you alive, some kind of energy healing. We do not fully understand it, but it worked. Daniel said, his voice sounded rough and dry. Where is she? Is she safe? The doctor smiled. She is fine. She has been here every day, waiting for you to wake up. She will be very happy to know you are back with us. Daniel closed his eyes, was safe. That was all that mattered. Over the next few days, he learned what had happened after he passed out. The attackers had been defeated. Commander Price and the surviving traditionalists had been arrested. The ships had fled when coalition reinforcements arrived. The summit had been delayed, but it was not canceled. Came to visit him on the 2nd day. His friend looked tired but happy. You are famous now, said with a grin. The whole galaxy is talking about the human soldier who saved the princess. They are calling you a hero. I was just doing my job. Yeah, well, your job nearly got you killed. Again. His grin faded. When I saw you go down, I thought that was it. I thought I had lost my best friend. Takes more than a plasma bolt to kill me. Apparently, stood up and looked toward the door. There is someone else who wants to see you. I will leave you two alone. He left and a moment later walked in. She looked different. Her formal robes were gone, replaced by simple clothes. Her hair was tied back. She looked younger somehow, less like a princess and more like a regular person. She sat down beside his bed and took his hand. her silver fingers intertwined with his brown ones. "You scared me," she said quietly. "When I saw you fall, I thought my heart would stop." "I am sorry." "No, you are not." A small smile appeared on her face. "You would do it again in a heartbeat. That is who you are." Daniel did not deny it. She was right. "What happened to the summit?" he asked. "It will continue tomorrow. My father has sent a message of support. The other species are more committed to the alliance than ever. What happened here showed them the importance of standing together against those who want to divide us. So it all worked out." "Yes," his grip on his hand tightened, "except for one thing." "What?" "I told you about the marriage tradition, about how my father wants to seal the alliance with a union between human and—" She looked at him with her purple eyes. "I told you I had already chosen." Daniel's heart started beating faster. He had thought about this a lot during the hours he spent lying in the hospital bed. He had thought about everything she had said, everything they had been through together. He said slowly, "I am just a soldier. I am not royalty. I am not special. I have nothing to offer you except myself." "That is everything," she said. "Do you not understand that? You, Daniel Grant, are everything I want, everything I have wanted for 3 years. Your people will not accept it. I am human. I will grow old and die while you stay young for centuries. It does not make sense." "Nothing about love makes sense." She leaned closer to him. "Do you think I care what others say? Do you think I care that our lives will be different lengths? Every moment with you is worth more than centuries without you." Daniel looked at her. This strange, beautiful, powerful woman who had reached across the stars to find him, who had saved his life with her own powers, who had cried when he fell. He thought about his life before this, the battles, the loneliness, the feeling that something was missing but never knowing what. He knew now it was her. It had always been her. "When I was carrying you out of that raider ship 3 years ago," he said, "I was dying. I knew I was dying, but I looked at your face and I thought that I had never seen anything so beautiful. I thought that if this was the last thing I ever saw, it would be enough." His eyes filled with tears. "I have been looking for that feeling ever since," Daniel continued. "I never found it until now, until I saw you again on the station." He squeezed her hand. "So yes, if you are asking me to spend whatever time I have left at your side, the answer is yes. The answer has always been yes." She kissed him then. Her lips were soft and warm and tasted like starlight. When she pulled back, she was smiling and crying at the same time. "You romantic fool," she whispered. "You romantic fool," he corrected. "Yes, mine." The wedding happened 6 months later on Earth. It was the biggest event in human history. People from all over the planet gathered to watch. Ships from a dozen species filled the sky. The alliance between humanity and the Empire was made official. But for Daniel and, standing together at the altar, none of that mattered. They were not thinking about politics or alliances or the future of 2 civilizations. They were thinking about each other. "I chose you," whispered as they exchanged their vows. "I chose you long before they assigned you to me, and I will keep choosing you every day for as long as we both live." "And I choose you," Daniel replied. "The princess who reached across the stars to find a simple soldier. I do not know what I did to deserve you, but I promise to spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of your love." They kissed as the crowd cheered. Humans and together, celebrating a union that nobody had thought possible. Years later, people would call it the wedding that changed the galaxy. Historians would write about how it marked the beginning of a new era, when humanity truly became part of the galactic community. The story of the human soldier and the alien princess would be told to children for generations. But Daniel did not care about any of that. For them, it was simpler. It was a promise made on a burning ship, when a soldier held a princess's hand and told her everything would be fine. It was a choice made not by duty or politics, but by something far more powerful. It was love, reaching across the darkness between stars to find its way home. And in the end, that was the most human thing of all. On quiet nights, when the children were asleep and the house was peaceful, Daniel and would sit together and look at the stars. She would lean against his shoulder, and he would hold her close. "Do you ever regret it?" she would ask sometimes. "Choosing this life, choosing me?" And every time, Daniel would give the same answer. Never, not for 1 second, not even once. Because it was true. Every battle, every scar, every moment of pain had been worth it. It had all led him to her. And that was enough. That was everything. The end.